Hello! Today we're going to do a tour of my driveway garden. As you can see, just about everything in my driveway is planted in containers. Once again, talking about and reflecting on my theory of gardening, use what you have to get what you want. In my garden, I believe in creating an area of quiet refuge. I've put out this settee, I've got plants, I've got a peach tree, hopefully I'll have peaches next year. I've got my candle, I've got my herb and salad bowl here, and cold season crops that are ready to be planted within the next week or so. I've even dressed in one of my favorite aprons to give homage to my citrus grove. Starting with my newest lemon tree here. Doesn't have any lemons just yet, but hopefully in a year or two it will have some. But standing right next to it, as you can see, I've got a nice supply of lemons here. Look how beautiful that is. This is a Myers lemon tree, and you can grow them in a container, or in the warmer parts of the country, you can grow them right in the ground. If you've never smelled a lemon blossom, it is actually something to behold. Wonderful. Each blossom represents a new lemon in the making. I've got lime trees here. Can anyone say key lime pie or margarita? You can grow your own right on your driveway. Here I have another tree. It's a nectarine tree that will also be planted in a container, and hopefully in about 3 years I'll have nectarines to share. Here's my Otis fig tree, also planted in a very large container, which gives homage to my brother-in-law Otis. He was an inspiration for me for over 10 years in trying to grow a fig tree, and I finally was successful this year with his help. Even though he's passed on, he's still helping me grow figs. I've also got a grapevine here in containers. More citrus plants. This is a mandarin orange tree, also growing in a container. Eggplants. And now we enter in an area that I call my basil jungle. It's full of all different kinds of basil. And as you might be able to see, it's also full of bees, which is an integral part of having a wonderful lawn and a wonderful garden. You need bees for pollination. I wish I was brave enough to be a honeybee farmer, but not so much, because I'm actually allergic to bee stings. But I found if you don't bother them, they don't generally bother you. But back here in my basil jungle, today we're going to be showing how you can actually grow more basil than you'll ever need. I didn't plant any basil for over 3 years. I simply took the seeds from existing basil plants a few weeks ago, just like this, dried seeds, and spread them over in this large area. And as you can see, I've got new basil plants coming up all over the place. So we're going to use these basil plants to actually start a brand new garden inside. Baby basil plants. New garden to be. Look at the peppers I've still got growing here. The one thing about being a driveway gardener is that you never know what you might find hiding out amongst the bees, the butterflies, and the plants. Almost any container can be a gardening container as long as it's large enough to hold the plants, has good drainage, and you can manage the size. As you can see, I'm using a discarded Clorox container. Anybody need a funnel? The next step is to add drainage holes. I've already added 3, but usually 3 or 4 is enough. Please be careful when you do this. This is not a job for kids to do alone. Under supervision, yes, but not alone. We're going to add broken pottery shards at the bottom for drainage, some wet paper to help add nutrients to the soil and help break up the soil. And then we're just going to simply fill it up with quality gardening soil. Another nice thing to add to a container garden, you got to see this. Let's see, they're in here somewhere. And if you have children or grandchildren, they will love this part. Look at that. They're earthworms. They're playing possum right now, but they're in here. Just simply add these to the container. They will find their way both top and bottom. They serve to aerate the soil and also add nutrients as they, let's say, poop. Now it's time to plant the basil. Carefully, because these are young plants, you want to just simply sit those on the top. Carefully poking them down with your finger. Adding a little bit more soil on the top to make sure that they're firmly seated. And because you're planting them in a small container like this, you can actually bring the container in when it gets too cold and grow basil practically year-round inside. There are no guarantees, but I think it's worth a try. Little more soil at the top, making sure they're all poked down and secure. Gently water them in. Not too much, you just want enough so that they'll be moist but not drowned. And since this is no longer Clorox, let's take off this label. A little bit more water. And of course, our sign. In just a few short weeks, you'll be able to enjoy a brand new basil harvest. Rhonda here again, showing you how you can take what you have to make it into what you want. An existing Clorox container turned into a nice planter. Bye. Happy growing.